So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. So basically the roll is going to be doing 10 in total. Your core. And that's the end of that. Make sure that you're in a plank position, whether that's going to be on your elbows or a high plank, and you just want to thread your hand through the gap. Great work, guys. So we're going to repeat that all over again. So we're going to go back into the really good workout for, to be honest, your whole body. So what you want to do is this twisting action like I'm doing. Try and make sure to get your bum tucked. This really helps to get the heart rate up, as well as engaging your core and the obliques. I quite enjoy this one for some reason. A side sit up. So what you're going to do is you're going to put your legs together and you're going to bring it up to the side, and then you're going to do a tuck in. So up and then tuck in. Up the heels. You can go as fast or as slow as you want in this. I kind of enjoy going quite fast when I'm doing this.
Watch as I do this side crunch exercise. What I want you to notice is the movement is way smaller than you may think it is. See, I'm really concentrating on the upper portion of the movement. I don't care if my elbow gets down to my hip. I see guys try to touch.
In the second phase of this exercise, only your knees upward towards the ceiling. Towards the ceiling to work your left internal obliques. To work your left external obliques, push your right knee towards your left shoulder. Be careful to move your entire trunk with the motion and not just your legs. Repeat for as many times.
And try to get my elbow here to meet my fist. Now I'm not just going to do this. That's cheating, because I haven't done any type of rotation for my torso. So what I want to do is keep it up here. I want to rotate my torso down until I make contact here. Now what you should see is that the external obliques on this side will be activated because they're opposite side rotators. So if I rotate my trunk to here, we come back to the top, and then we get a lift here up at the top. Now the lift is going to activate both the internal and external obliques on the right side to cause a lateral trunk flexion. Okay, when they work together on one side, they'll flex the trunk this way.
Now we're going to do the same thing, but bringing the knee up in front of us. By the time we're now going to repeat it all over again. You should really start to feel your abs burning by now. If not, then make sure that they are engaged. Do a little
This exercise does successfully incorporate the many movement patterns of the obliques and has actually been shown in some EMG exercise. It's vital that you don't forget to incorporate the 2 additional functions of the obliques by moving into a posterior posture.
Actually be trading in the repetition count once again for quality. And when you do it, you will light up your obliques. You sit back into a posterior tilt. You allow your thoracic spine to round here. One of the very few times I'd be in favor of that. And by doing so, you're out of their whole body to spin and simply rotate on the ball. But if you look at the amount of relative, essentially what I'm trying to do is stabilize this upper body position, prevent the rotation that wants to happen with this offloaded, one-sided loading of the rope. And it could be a bar, it could be a rope, it could be anything. But the fact is it's pulling through large excursions to really target the obliques and their function. So I put the band around my elbow, I step out, and I allow it to actually pull me back and further away, knowing that when it gets further away from our body, it becomes more challenging. But we're also introducing some lateral stability and control that's needed here. So it's a great exercise, again, to keep that weight from falling in that direction, and therefore a lot more work is being done by the obliques. This is one of my favorite ways to train anybody. And again, you don't have to start with a heavy weight here. As a matter of fact,
shoulder and the other hand on your upper back. So let your arms relax, and then I want to have you start slowly and twist back to where you came from. So you're going to twist to the left and hold it just like that. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop pushing.
And a lot of you might, again, do this instinctively because you figure it feels good, it stretches you out a little bit. But the big thing that you have to make sure you're doing here is you're separating the rib cage from the pelvis. So I do that by getting into the position where I first lay over the back of the ball, favorably stretch because you're taking them away, further away from the angle that they run into the to the rib cage. You're pulling that rib cage further away.
From there, I want to take the opposite arm and reach up and over as far as I can, still keeping my torso facing forward, as opposed to easily rolling in like this. I want to continue to exaggerate this line on the outside of my body by reaching over my head towards that dorsal, and then I'm going to drive and press away with this bent arm down here. Just opening it up.
The same thing, go to one side, but then rotate a little bit, either forward or backward. And you're going to have to play around with it.
Now you don't want to really dip into it just yet. When you're just like this, you're going to be stretching out more tricep than anything else. As you dip down into it, you're going to feel a little bit more of your lat involvement. Depending on
very small soft tissue structures. So we would set this in the side, and you can support yourself as much as you want, and all we're going to do is barrel roll. So back and forth, kind of going back and forth. So in this area, we're hitting basically
how to work on the intercostal muscles and the
Start with the stick on your back, have it touch your pelvic bone, your back, and your neck. This is going to keep your body upright. Because if you do have leg length problems, it's likely that your back's going to tend to fold.
Butt walk.
As you're upright, focus on butt walking. What you're doing is you're using the quadratus lumborum muscle, and you're elevating the hip and scooting it back. Time and time again like this. Keeping contact. You're going to find that one side is more difficult, and that's the side you're going to focus on elevating higher and dragging. Anything else where you can... The key is to hook that foot underneath the bench like this. Other heel goes under. What it's doing now, you're keeping your body, everything now, is in alignment. Line, like that. Good. Now, notice, everything's hip square, everything's square. From there, side bend, which is going to lengthen this quadratus lumborum, and whenever he lifts, it's going to close that space down. Lengthens the QL on this side, close it down. Over and over, get it stronger, stretch it up.
Here, I want to be able to go this way and go right into a plank. And I'm going to bring my arms like this, and then I'm going to hold myself up, keep the back up all the way, and keep your necks down. Don't hyperextend your neck, and just hold this position. Again, you do it until you can't hold this position. Then you want to start strengthening, stay on your knees. And then what you want to do is you want to just lift your pelvis up and try to straighten yourself out this way. Hold this position as long as you can.
In your butt, because then you know you're actually firing up those deep lower part of your glute muscles, which is what you want. As she starts slowly lifting her pelvis up into the air, she's going to think of pulling her hips up into the air. So you see her knees are moving over her feet. When she gets up there, she's going to really fire these guys up, and she's going to hold it for 3 breaths. With each exhalation, she's going to think more glutes, more hammies, more feet. When she lowers herself down, she's going to keep the weight in her feet and lower slowly.
Now, keep your core braced in a position, sink back into a hip hinge. You'll feel it right here as he sinks down. You're going to feel it pulling in his quadratus lumborum. It's lengthening there. And as he returns back to vertical, it's strengthening it. It's taking that muscle through a full range. It's lengthening it and then contracting to strengthen it. That muscle is going to give you stability.
Your hips and you're stacking your shoulders. Okay, so here we go. Inhale, exhale, lift your hips up. You are pushing your shoulder away from your ear. You got really good upper arm strength. But we're working the quadratus lumborum, Heather, right? So I want you to lift your hips up a little bit higher, squeezing your abdominals in and lower your hips down to your mat. Exhale, lift. Drop your belly into your cow. Exhale, cat. One more time. Squeezing your belly button in. And inhale, drop your belly, open your heart. Cow.
Maintaining that. This leg is going to be completely straight. So if you cannot straighten it out completely, you just have to go ahead and push through that and lower it down. But she's good. The opposite way, the weightlifter's middle splits, which means as she reaches long through that band, she's trying to reach out of her adductors while holding the opposite side of her pelvis down. And again, she's going to bring that back up. She's going to screw that hip into place as she pulls it across her body. You don't need to go super far here. If you grimace, if you want to cuss a little bit, it's probably because you're doing it right. A huge deep breath in, thinking of getting tall. As she exhales, she's going to go straight over and actually try to look straight forward from the other person. And she's going to hold this for a couple breaths. She's going to think of breathing into this lower part of her rib, so push your hands into me. Take a deep breath in and wrap herself around, lengthening that big line that comes across her QL. Straight forward, really trying to lift, expand, and get late through here. Can you feel that okay? Sit up.
And then pop your hip. And then you're just going to hold that. You're going to stretch up to elevate the rib cage, and you're going to hold it.
That's good. I'll bring your thigh back. We'll drop you down. I will stabilize on your rib cage here. Now, when I ask you to, I'll ask you to take a breath in, and as you breathe out, I'll ask you to press against my hand that's on the outside of your thigh. But what's more important than pushing up with your thigh is to push up against me by bringing your pelvis up on this side toward your trunk, okay? Okay, wonderful. So, first repetition, we begin. You have a position of...
Hard. You should feel it. Marisol, come here. Look, guys, you should feel it here. If you feel too much lat, drop the arm down. Drive the hip over. Guys, this stretch is so...
And you may start actually feeling it at that angle. And if you do, then you take the other arm and you raise it up. Now, if you don't feel it, raise that arm and really get a better stretch going. So at the end of the day...
Notice that I'm just kind of leaning forward right on to my lower body. A lot of people, what they do is they go to the side and then they stick the butt out. And notice when you do that, you can lean down a lot further. But we don't want to do that. We want to keep that baggy down. I can use this weight to kind of help drag my body down. So again, breathe in.
Carefully drop the legs to the left as much as you can to feel the stretch in the quadratus lumborum. Head down. Take your arms and your forehead and reach over to the right so you feel the stretch on the left side. Hold for 15 to 20 seconds and repeat on.
And then you bring your right arm up to a vertical position. Before you begin the stretch, you take a breath in, and then as you stretch out diagonally at a 45-degree angle, you exhale. Hold the stretch for 2 seconds.
Made those motions now. Stretch, that means the muscle's being stretched.
Right. It's a good,
So
I learned that in PT school, Bob.
He did the twist. He turned a little bit to the left. and look at how that is stretching in there. And I'll bet you're feeling that in the muscle.
Oh, Andrew, get down. Ball. Quadratus lumborum, just like that. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to try to pin that muscle. You got ball.
Tuck intense, bring that knee in.
That's right.
Even more intense, curl up toward the knee.
If you got somebody to help you out, you just kind of press the one and go like that, like there.
Dropping the knees to that same side. Here you can see that I've placed the ball into the right QL, and then I'm gradually dropping my knees toward
like a little nodule.
We all know the QL.
Three, two, one, break. Three, two, one, go. Three, two, one.
First, you curl into a ball. You get rid of any leg drive, you get rid of any curvature in your lower back. So my lower back right now is flat to the ground. If I was strong enough, and sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not, I would not use anything, I would just have my arms behind me. And I'm going to pull, again, pubic bone towards the sternum. And back down. What you'll notice is this gap here, okay? If I was strong enough, I would be able to keep that down. But I can't. So, it shouldn't look like I'm running at it. Right? Control the down. Pop up. Control the down. Breathing should exhale. 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. See, with my elbows, I can't get up there. Okay? It's a good isometric hold for rectum. I apply pressure between these two, my abs go on fire. Dead bug, cross body, I'm pushing. Don't let your shoulder fall back. Butt stays down. Go knee. 1, 2, 3. Where I'm trying to get that knee to touch the nipple. It'll never happen.
A lot of people think that they have to keep their hips off the ground. You can let everything relax and try to come up as far as you can. You can walk your hands back a little bit.
Over your elbows, your palms are down into the floor. Gently lift your torso, feeling the side, and bring the arms down to neutral. To the top, release the chest, release the torso, feel the stretch in the abdominal muscles.
Kind of visualize
marching, and you're gonna lift one leg at a time, being careful not to let your hips move as you move your legs. Also recognizing whether you're using your hip flexors and the front of your hips are starting to get sore. This should all be coming from that lower abdominal. The next progression, we're going and then relax. That was perfect. So you should see this, so you can see his abdominals going down deep into the mat as his legs squeeze, so we're getting a contraction of the adductors with the transversus abdominis together. Excellent. So it is a bit more challenging when you let your leg go out, so you once again want to be cautious not to let your stomach or your back lift off the mat into a bit of an arch, that it stays down the entire time.